What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning. So come by and say hello. All right, I wanted to talk about SPS and whether or not you should stake it. Now, just quick disclaimers like the usual. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And honestly, I'm just sharing information. So, do your own research and decide what you want to do. Maybe you don't have to do anything. But I find this stuff fascinating. And so I'm just kind of sharing it with you. And we will go from there. So, before we even start, the preface for this is that AgriRoad and team have said that they want everybody to be incentivized to stake as much SPS as possible. They want to make staking rewards so freaking good that everybody just wants to buy SPS and stake it. So with that in mind, I want to actually look at some of the incentives that are currently listed out now that we have the LP rewards in place, and maybe discuss some of the incentives that are not yet here or hard to calculate or really put together at this point. So I'm on Peak Monster. Shout out to Peak Monster's website. They got a nice little dashboard here for SPS and DEC rewards. If you go to your profile little picture here, if you go down to the second option, you will get to this screen, which shows you the current SPS and DEC LP rewards, as well as rewards for staking and node licenses, all that fun stuff. So this is what we are looking at currently. Now, from a staking perspective, okay, if you were to stake, let's just start there. At this point in time, you're going to get roughly a 32% APR, just under 32%, broken down with 17.5% coming from SPS and another 14.33% coming from vouchers. Now, this is highly, highly volatile. The SPS is more stable, but the voucher amount is very volatile because it depends on what the value of vouchers are. With SPS, if you just look at it in token terms, right? So if you're just looking at it in how much, if I buy 100 SPS and I stake 100 SPS at the end of the year, I should get roughly 17.56 SPS back. That's regardless or irrelevant of what the overall price for SPS is, the SPS token. But vouchers are different. Vouchers are a different token, and if the voucher price goes up, well, all of a sudden you're receiving the same amount of vouchers, but their value goes up higher, at least relative to SPS. And so therefore, if you buy $100 of SPS, right, or let's say you own 100 SPS, well, if voucher prices go up, then this number goes up as well. But vouchers right now are sitting at roughly like 50 cents-ish, between 45 and 50 cents. And I do believe that that's kind of like the new equilibrium for them ever since they got inflated or like doubled in the daily drop with the node licenses. So 31.88% APR. It's not bad, but in DeFi terms, it's not amazing, especially if we look down here at some of the other options. Now, I'm going to look at the two big pools that the team is really trying to push. In fact, maybe we'll look at three of them here. So you have SPS and Swap.Hive. This is the Hive engine, or the one on Hive engine, or we'll just say the Hive blockchain pool that they are trying to put into or incentivize. And if you put your SPS in there. Now, keep in mind, you have to put an equivalent amount of Hive. And when we talk about the other LP tokens, you will have to either buy those other tokens in the equivalent amount, so like $100 of SPS and $100 of Hive, or you'll have to sell half your SPS so that you have equivalent amounts. So that is something to consider. But with the SPS and Swap.Hive pool, you are getting 5 times as much in terms of your APR, 156%. Now, this is probably going to come down or continue reducing as more people figure this out and as more people provide liquidity, but 156% isn't bad right now. And I don't know how much further to come down. I don't know that there's going to be, 5x more liquidity that's put into this that brings this all the way down to the 32% range. But it could happen, so it might be worth watching. But this is currently the highest one. Now, if you are familiar with the Binance Smart Chain and that blockchain, SPS BNB is going to get you 120%. And then on the Ethereum chain, you have SPS and Wrapped ETH, which will get you 84%, 84.6%. So those are your options if you want to hold SPS right now. And I would say that holding SPS at the moment seems like a pretty good idea simply because of the fact that the team is planning to put in a lot more utility. So 156%, 120%, and 84% depending on the chain that you choose. And also what's important is keep in mind impermanent loss is a legitimate risk. So when you're looking at the pairs, SPS and swap.hive, do you think those will correlate well together? SPS and BNB, same thing for SPS and wrapped ETH. If the market goes up on one, will it go up on the other? Otherwise, there is a risk for impermanent loss. Whereas if you do SPS staking, you don't have that kind of risk. I mean, your SPS is always there, you're always in control of it, and you always have the amount that you stake, right? If anything, you'll be getting more. But if there is a wide disparity in price movements between SPS and Hive, BNB, or wrapped ETH, respectively, you could end up with more or less tokens. And that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, depending on how much SPS you want, but it's just something to keep in mind. I will give a shout out to Peak Monsters. They have their PKM token here, and you can also get 47% APR with the PKM and SPS pool. Now, this is available on Hive Engine, but it's paid out not just in SPS, but PKM, SPS, and vouchers. So something to keep in mind. This is a very low liquidity pool, but it's there too if you want to support Peak Monsters. Now, the other one that I will just toss out here because it is kind of just randomly, it's part of it too, right? Because you could take your SPS and buy node licenses. And at this point in time, with the value that node licenses are currently going for, you could get a 61.93% APR. So it all just depends on what you want to be holding and what type of risk you are open to. And obviously, the higher the risk, the higher return. At the end of the day, I would probably say, and this is relative, right? I would probably say that your least risky move would probably be just staking SPS. If your goal is to have SPS and make sure that you always have that same amount of SPS, or that same amount, that SPS that you put away is constantly earning and growing and compounding, then staking your SPS is going to be the safest move relative to everything here, right? Again, this is not investment advice. I'm not trying to say that it's safe. I'm just saying it's safe relative to the liquidity pools which offer impermanent loss and then exposure to other tokens. So when you're looking at that, it's not a bad idea. Now, one thing that I don't think is represented in the APR, and again, it's hard to quantify because we don't just have it yet, and I'll be the first to admit that we've been teased a lot of things that have not been delivered in the first half of this year, but it does seem as though the team wants to implement some other rewards or benefits for staking SPS. Now, whether that comes down to ECR generation, or maybe that is something that is indirectly given to vouchers, well, then your direct link to that would be through staking SPS. You'd want to have more SPS that you earn, SPS staked, so that you'd have more vouchers. So if you believe that those are coming or down the line, then maybe your safest bet is to go with just staking SPS. But I did want to call out where these other ones are at this point in time, because the APRs are 4 to 5 times larger in some cases from where staking is. So that's kind of just a brief summary of staking versus LPs. And again, I'm not getting into the details here. I'm just kind of sharing and musing about the different APRs that are available to you. So I'll leave it here, and I'm curious from you guys to know, just to get a feel for where the audience is at and where the community is at. What are you doing? Where are you focusing your energy, your time, your resources, right? Your financial resources. Because I would say that LPs are definitely very appealing right now. And while I do have some in LPs, my biggest bag is still going to be in SPS or staking SPS with this, relatively stable APR. I'm very long on the SPS token, so I'm just being very upfront about that. And while it'd be nice to earn more SPS, I don't think that I'd want to unstake any of my SPS now. Maybe in the future, as I earn more SPS through playing or through rewards or whatever the case is, I might feed it into other areas. But I'm a conservative. I'm more of on the conservative mindset, right? So I tend to go where I feel like the least amount of risk, at least relative to where the other things are, would be. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if these APRs, first of all, surprise you, if you're surprised that they're still this high. Granted that we've had LPs out for almost a week at this point. But if you are not open to that risk, maybe there's something else that's stopping you or incentivizing you to go for it or stay away from it, whatever the case is. Let me know in the comments below. We can share, compare notes there and continue the conversation. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. I will catch you all in the next one, and I will see you around the game. Take care.